Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. Today's exciting episode is just a sewing catch-up. I show you some of the beading I've been doing and we talk about some sewing challenges for the month of July.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
I will get to all the beading I've been doing. I finally finished the honeybee tweed jacket. Oh my gosh, it's got thousands of floral sequins on there and it's finally done. Very excited. But first, let's look at the monthly sewing challenges for this month, July 2024. This blog post is from Stash Hub. There's a link below and it's just a list of some of the sewing challenges on this month. First up is scrunchie swap. So with your leftover fabrics, you make some scrunchies and you swap them with someone in your country. And then next up, it's another British one. It's Ankara Appreciation Week. It's a specific type of fabric. So I think two black British sewers in London organised this, and it's they've got great amazing collections of fabric and a lot of it's Ankara, so they decided to focus on that for a month and use up their gorgeous fabric. Actually, it's just a week and you can too. Next up is a slow sewing one for people on the opposite side of the planet, and it's winter repairs. So if you don't feel like going in your sewing room, you can just snuggle under a blanket on the sofa and do some repairs. Next is a pattern hackathon. And yeah, that just sounds exhausting to me. So a month of mushing different patterns together, making aesthetic changes to patterns. I suppose I do that every pattern I do. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. But of course you're going to customize a pattern. Why else would you make your own clothes? That's the fun part. Anyway, next up, I didn't like this one, but each their own. So there's this sewing challenge for the year where you make one garment a month. And for July, they say if you're motivated, you only want what other people have, then pick something that you really like or someone else's and make your own version of it. And is each their own. I don't think it's going to make you happy though. But anyway, the next one is find two fabrics in your fabric stash and make them up into garments. Yes, I'm doing that one. The next one is a quilting one where these two people on Instagram noticed that they're doing the same quilt, so they invited loads of other people to join in. And so you can join in too if you want. It's really easy quilt. Again, there's a link below to this blog post if you want to click to any of the specifics of each of these competitions. Next, it's 3 ones that are going on the whole year, and it's the same challenge for the whole year. So first up, there's a company called Sew House 7, and if you make any of their patterns, then you can win prizes, or no, just a discount. So it's not really a competition. The next one is Make 9, and you're about to see some of my Make 9 fabrics, which I'm going to make up into dresses and jackets. So I'll show you them in a minute. And the last one is Last Sewer Standing, and that's just this year-long pledge to only use fabrics from your stash and not buy anything new. And yeah, so it's sort of whittling them down and who hasn't bought any new fabrics the whole year. So it's not really a competition. You had to be there at the start and you can't it is ongoing in one sense, but yeah. Anyway, now on to catch up with what I've been doing in my sewing time this week. I finally finished the honeybee tweed jacket. It's the most amazing honeycomb tweed. I'll show you in a second. And then, yeah, when I bought it, it just looked so completely different. So here's the tweed, and it still looks white here. When I bought the fabric, you could really see the dark red, the dark blue, the teals, the blue, royal blues, the lighter blues, and you couldn't see the cream so much. But as soon as it was made up, that parchment colour cream flagged or fluffy one, it's actually called flagged, just became so much more prominent, like you would not believe. Like as a close-up, you can see the other colours and maybe you can understand what I mean by how amazing the tweed used to look, and I just couldn't get over it. And it changed so much once I made it up. And I didn't really like it as much. I mean, I love a honeycomb weave because it's such a difficult weave to, actually make. And it's beautiful conceptually. But yeah, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll put a dark bead in each of the little honeycombs. But I don't know. I really didn't like the yellowy parchment colour of the flagged. And then, yeah, I just sort of fell upon this idea of adding flowers to it because, honeycomb is made by bees. Bees love flowers. And we couldn't live without bees and therefore couldn't live without flowers. And yeah, so I came up with this and I was like, I don't know if it's going to work. And I did think about putting the inverted triangle on the back because of, the massive environmental damage that's happening in conflict zones. But I don't know. Something didn't ring true about it. And I just like that it's so incredibly simple. It's one type of seed bead, this black one with an iris finish, and it's one type of sequin. Oh, this is me just showing you the tails of the thread. So I haven't threaded them back through into the jacket yet. So I just wanted to show you that I always do that, but I usually carefully thread everything through to the back so it's not visible before I film it. And I thought I'd just show you. So if you've seen my beading video on how I show you how to bead everything, then that will make sense to you. So the other jacket, once I finished that, I did a little dance because it took so long to make. And then the next thing I started on, this is, I made this, must have been, I finished it last year, but I started it the year before. This jacket has been going on for ages. It is an amazing tweed and I didn't want to mess it up. And I don't know, it just wasn't quite sure what beading. But after I finished the flowers one, I was like, more flowers, more flowers. And this just reminds me of dust and rubble and fallen down broken buildings. And there's graffiti on a lot of rubble and partially remaining buildings that says we will rebuild. And I was like, okay, I've got grey flowers and I'm going to put flowers all over it. My original concept was the bottom third is going to be flowers and the top third is going to be flowers. And in the middle section, you'll see the beautiful, I'll leave it blank and you'll see the beautiful tweed. And these are my grey flowers that I had to choose from. I love these ones on the left, but I didn't have very many of them. So I was like, can't really use them. I do have loads of these really sort of smaller detailed ones, but they weren't quite what I was looking for. These middle ones that have that gorgeous glitter, sheeny finish to them, I love these. I think these are my favourite ones, but I got them in a bag of all different mixed colour ones, so there aren't actually very many silver grey ones, but I do love them dearly. I was going to do like an inverted triangle on the back that was going to be all different flowers and it was going to look like a little oasis, and I was going to use them on that. I still might, I guess. And then these two are the ones that I settled with. By themselves, both of them are very, very plain, but I thought if I put them together and one on top of the other, and I used a grey seed bead to anchor them, then I think there's three, like the slightly different grey of the seed bead plus the two different types of grey, like one is matte and one is shiny. I don't know, I just think they look really interesting together and they keep the eye moving, but they're also not enough to completely distract from the tweed. So yeah, I liked it. But I don't like the third thing. I don't like that at all. I mean, yeah, I want to like it, but I think it would look better if it's just completely covered in flowers. And then, as I said, I might still do the oasis triangle, inverted triangle on the back. We shall see. But the way I've done the beading so far, it's a little too uneven and it irks me. So I'm not sure. I'll leave it up on the sideboard while I work on some other things. But I think I'm going to have to undo all the beading I've done and just redo the whole thing because it's not neat enough. It kind of, once I've finished it, I think it'll look nice with that dress once I've made the dress too. I have to like stop planning outfits based on things I haven't actually made yet. Seriously. Anyway, so that is how that one's going. And yeah, for the longest time, I just did not know how to bead this to do the incredible tweed justice. But I think these flowers are just so different and so, I don't know. I like it. Like, I like the concept of rebuilding from rubble and, finding life. So I'm finally happy with it. Now I just have to do the actual beading. And these are all the jackets that I already know how I want to bead them, so I have to hurry up and make the jackets. The Dino one, it's going to have the same type of beading as my green Gucci. So it's sort of collar of very oversized and novelty sequins. That one was gold and it had gold beads, and there's also larger beads underneath to sort of fill it in and make it weigh the proper weight. So I'm going to do that style of beading with my Dino, but it's going to have collar and cuffs as well, and there's going to be a bit around the waist. This black one is going to have flowers on it, and it's the Sabrina Audrey Hepburn recreation. This one is also going to be part of the inverted triangle collection. It's foliage, all different leaves, and in this conflict zone, everyone's starving and kids have resorted to just eating leaves off trees or plants. So what I'm going to do is going to make a jacket out of that, and it's going to have, like, instead of beaded trim, it's going to have a trim of all different leaves, and then it's also going to have an inverted triangle on the back. And yeah, I know it's not doing enough, but it's something. And these two, I think I'm going to make these, you know how I make jackets either using the draping method with the shell and then you drape the fabric over, or you make it like each piece is a piece and you sew the whole thing together. I think I'm going to make some using the shell method and some using the standard method. So that's why I've added those ones in. And this pink one, I've decided is I don't have enough green beads to do the design I wanted. So I'm going to do green flower collar and cuff beading, and then all the green beads that I do have, I'm going to do a triangle out of that. And then these ones here are also the inverted triangle collection. 3 of them are specific to images of specific children. Like this child passed away and their face was just perfect, but the back of their head was missing, and they were wearing a black and white top that had a pineapple on it, like a cartoon pineapple on it. So I'm going to do green beading, like that green Gucci, like the top of a green pineapple. And then I have these actual pineapple sequins and I was going to put them on it, but I don't know, that seems too obvious. So I might just put some pineapple sequin dotted in the green of the collar and cuff beading. This one here is Hind. That's going to be a Hind jacket, and I've got, like, there are several images of her, so I looked through them, and there's this one where she's wearing mauve and white and she's just smiling and she's wearing this headband with flowers in it. So I'm going to make the mauve and white tweed, and it's going to have collar and cuff mauve flower beads, and then I've got these I'm not sure if you know, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll absolutely recognise this Oscar de la Renta jacket. It's from several years ago and I just love it so much. I love the beading. So it's one big bead strung on a little loop of beads, because I have these silver spikes, and if they sort of look like bullet tops, like the top of a bullet. So yeah, I'm going to string them, but they don't sit right on a tweed, so I'm going to hang them in a string of beads. You know how sometimes people wear a shark tooth on the necklace or a bullet? I'm going to do that for 355 of the silver spikes on the Hind jacket, as well as the flowers. And then the coral, these two, one of them is based on a bed sheet that a child was wrapped in, and the other one is a happier one. There's this adorable little girl and she's dancing in the street and in a war zone, but it's just this glimmer of light in this absolute chaos and, landscape of despair. So they're all part of the inverted triangle collection. And these 4 are part of my Make Nines. So this is the French tweed. And I just haven't made this up because I think it's the only French tweed that I have left. And they're very expensive. They're very, very well made. And well, all these tweeds are well made, but I just love it and I don't want to mess it up, but I'm going to use it this year. So I'm going to make that jacket. This is charcoal Lesage inspired tweed. And I don't know, I was thinking if there's enough leftover flowers from the one that I'm doing at the moment, of the grey ones, I might do them as a collar and cuff on that. But I also see the teal and like the aqua and blue sequins that I'm using on that one. Maybe I'll use the black and the silver and the white ones on the charcoal tweed. And then my flamenco tweed, I don't know how I'm going to bead that. I've changed my mind so many times. I think I need to see the jacket made up to see how much the tweed changes. And then I'll decide from there. So I wish I had khaki flowers though. Oh my goodness. This is why you need resin mold so you can make your own colours. Anyway, so yes, we're still on all the ones that I absolutely positively want to make up this year. So we had some sequin ones. I've got 2 latte or brown coffee ones. One's supposed to be coffee, one's supposed to be latte, but they look very much the same to me. And the silver one, I was going to do blue flowers on that one, but I think I'm going to do pink flowers because blue and silver looks too much like blue and white. And this one, the snakeskin one, it reminds me of the new British Prime Minister, who is an absolute snake. So I'm going to make this up and it is going to have a very large red triangle on the back of it. And I can't decide whether to make the snakeskin go horizontal or vertical. I mean, obviously it's plastic, it's fake, but normally when they use real hides or skins, it's vertical because the panels of your jacket are several thin vertical panels. So I guess I'll do it vertical because he's definitely not going against the grain in his corruption. So yeah, it's such a weird, interesting fabric to work with. It's not as thick as it looks, so it's not going to be too nightmarish to bead into, hopefully, touch wood. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. And it's, as I said, big red triangle on the back of that one. I also have several summer jackets and it's summer now. So I should really, do some of them. I love this one, but you have to get up so close to see how many beautiful different colours there are in it. Like if you stand at a normal distance, it's not as spectacular. So I don't know. I think I'll still make it up. And also the ladybug one. I desperately want to make the ladybug one so I can run around saying, I'm a ladybug. And yes, I'm very mature. And the grey one, this is another inverted triangle jacket, part of that collection. There was this image, footage on social media of this old gentleman. He was just like in his 80s or 90s. And he had like all these, he's been displaced yet again. And he was walking and he had a bedroll and some blankets and things. And some of them are hot pink and some of them are red. So I'm going to make a grey jacket and that Oscar de la Renta where you hang a bead off a row of beads. I'm going to do that. And I've got these skull beads in red and hot pink. And I know it sounds a bit macabre, but conflicts are. So I think I'll hang them all off there. Of course, I still have all the layer cake dresses, all the fabric stashed there for the layer cake dresses I want to make. But yeah, so lots of things I desperately want to make. And so far I'm just making plans on plans on plans. I really need to get back into the sewing room and do it. And if you're trying to figure out what the honeybee tweed jacket is reminding you of, it's probably the pearlies. In Britain, well, London specifically, each year there's a crowned pearly king and pearly queen, and it's Cockney people who they're born within the sound of a certain church's bell. They're called Cockneys. And yeah, it's just a celebration they have each year, and they have dark clothes and they sew these pearl buttons on, and oh my gosh, they're just magnificent. This is nowhere near as awesome as that, but it's probably, if you're trying to think what it was reminding you of that sort of iridescent sheen and just completely covered, that I was like, I think because of the white, sort of the creamy white flagged bits in between as well. I was like, what is it reminding me as I was doing it? I was like, what is this reminding me of? What is it reminding me of? And then, yeah, now that I've seen it, I can't really unsee it, but I do love this jacket. Anyway, I am going to go and, no, I don't think I'll finish that beading at the moment because, yeah, unfortunately, I do think it's a little too messy and it's going to irk me. So I'm probably going to have to pull the whole thing apart and redo it. But it's, yeah, at least I know now what I want for that jacket, because for the longest time I was like, we'll just put that in the too hard pile. It's way too difficult. Oh, and these are 2 other jackets I did in the last month or so, and I don't like them. I mean, they're nice enough, but, you know, this channel is called Perfect Jacket, not Mediocre Jacket. So I think I'm going to unpick this one and redo it with a different design. I mean, I do love it, but there's just not enough really expensive beads in there, because this tweed, I love this tweed so much. And I knew as soon as I bought it, I was like, that is going to be one of my favorite jackets. So it's just a little too disappointing at the moment. I need to make it better. So I'm going to take them all off very carefully, and I am going to make it better. And then this one here, conceptually love it. It's got all these little bits of jewellery pendants that are keys, and it's got the big red triangle on the back. But I have long hair and it's kind of wavy, and sometimes I forget to put it up before I put a jacket on it, and I just like, they're a bit too messy for me anyway. But also, if my hair got stuck in those, I would just have to get a haircut. That's the only way I get myself untangled. So I'm going to carefully take all these off, and I think I'll probably just stitch the actual pendants on so that they can't move. Like, I love the idea of them being able to move, but I just don't think it's going to work for this particular jacket. But yes, we will get there in the end, eventually. Anyway, that is it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've been not too frustrated by my endless plans and my complete lack of sewing. I am going to clean up this massive pile of jacket making fabrics, and then I'm actually going to, well, procrastinate, not quite get to that beading yet, but I am going to actually make some jackets and some dresses, perhaps off camera, but I will show you them once they're done, and do some of those devilish jacket mock-ups of patterns I haven't done yet, and then I can finally sit on the sofa and do more beading. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've been inspired to actually do some sewing. I hope I've been inspired to actually do some sewing. And yeah, happy sewing.